There is a ton of outright bad financial advice being peddled on social media, and this includes YouTube. In this video, I'll be covering the 5 things I wish I knew before I invested 1 red cent. Frank Thomas here, Wealth Generation Strategies, and wow, there's a lot of bad financial advice on social media. I honestly had something completely different to talk to you about this week, but I watched a video that came up on my feed that showed a way to pay off a 30-year mortgage in just 7 years. Needless to say, something didn't smell right about this video. And yes, I have many years of financial forecasting, and the numbers were just not adding up for me. In this person's example, they showed how to use a $10,000 loan that could be paid off in 6 months. The hypothetical person paying the loan only had about $1,100 in disposable income every month to do this. The person showing this showed how the calculations would pay that $10,000 loan off in just 6 months. I kept asking myself, how in daylights can a $1,100 times 6 or $6,600 pay off a $10,000 loan? It's quite impossible. Well, I found out the error in their math, and it was in the final month of their calculations. They neglected to complete the month's calculation, and in reality, it does take a full 10 months to pay off that darn loan. And it really made me start to think about all the videos and posts I consume and just how many are just outright bad advice. Then I started to think about all the things I believed from financial advisors in my past and the facts that turned out to be completely wrong to my financial demise. Well, I want to help save some grief for you. And so in today's video, I'm going to be covering what I think are the 5 things I wish I knew before I invested 1 red cent. So let's get started right away. Number 1, and this is a doozy. If you don't fully understand it, don't get involved. If you don't completely understand where the money is going or how the financial concept fully works, do not invest into it. Stay away from it. This can cost you so much money. Let me give you an example. In the early days of cryptocurrencies, there was a lot of scams popping up promising very high returns on your money daily because of underlying cryptocurrency schemes. Well, I didn't fully understand how it worked. It wasn't explained well. And on blind faith, I invested close to $8,000 into it. It took about 8 or 9 months for the house of cards to topple, and I lost the whole kit and caboodle. I was very upset. I was extremely upset. In hindsight, it was a really stupid investment. It was unrealistic, and it spoke very loudly to my greed. And this leads me to the second thing I wish I knew. Number 2. Don't let your greed take the lead. Out of coincidence, it rhymes. So it may be easy to remember, but this is also a very big one. And I see it occurring all the time. When greed takes the front seat in our brains, good financial sense goes right out the window. I've been caught up on several great financial deals that spoke to my greed. There's a wonderful verse in the Bible stated by the wisest man who ever lived, King Solomon, and that is, that a fool and his money are soon parted. How true. When greed takes the front seat on your financial decisions, you become a fool. It might sound a little harsh, but hey, I've been a fool on many, many occasions in the past. But how do we fix this greed problem? Before we learn how to fix our greed problem, if you're enjoying this video, give it a like. And if you'd like to hear more from this guy right here, be sure to subscribe. Either way, I want to thank you just so very much. I really appreciate it. Number 3, if it's too good to be true, it's not. Yes, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't true. I can tell you from experience, I've had the phrase, it's just too good to be true, when my greed rises up. Wow, that's just too good to be true. This is awesome, is how it comes out. I seem to forget that is probably not true. The sooner you can learn to recognize when something's not true, the sooner you can conquer your greed. But how can we tell when it's true? If you don't fully understand the concept of the deal, no matter how good it looks, abstain until you understand the deal. Back to point number 1. Deals are like streetcars. They come by several times a day. Unfortunately, most of the deals you've witnessed are not good deals and could be outright scams. I like how Warren Buffett says it. The first rule to investing is don't lose money. The second rule is don't forget the first rule. Wow, that is so important. Another thing does occur when you watch from the sidelines, and this leads me to the next thing I wish I knew. Number 4, educate yourself. It might sound simple, but education is the key to not losing but making money on investments. I spent over a year spending phony cash with the stock market to understand the technical aspects of it. If I would have jumped in with real money, I would have probably felt the pain much faster, but I would have probably also lost over $30,000 because in phony baloney money, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it was a great education. Now, I do play the stock market for real now, but it comes with over 10 years of experience, and yes, I do make money. I'm actually hoping to release a booklet around the concepts that I follow to make money in stocks and none of the financial products in the future. And it's not too hard to do if you keep things super simple. And that's what I did discover when I was educating myself in the markets. It does come down to, as I said, educating yourself. We've been looking to downsize our home, and while I've learned a lot about buying and selling houses, how mortgages work, and how it can impact your long-term financial future. I think, once I collect my thoughts on this one, this would be another great booklet for you guys. So I will be working hard to get those out in the near future. But the best money you'll spend is spending it on financial education. I've taken many financial courses in many different areas, and I believe I have a great basis to work from now. But I never, ever stop learning because you will continue to make mistakes. Remember that mistakes are the road to success, and this leads me to point number 5. Pick yourself up after a financial mistake. Don't let a financial mistake knock you down. The only time that you lose in the financial game, actually in the life game, is if you don't get back up after being knocked down. I've made more than enough financial mistakes to make me a very wealthy person, but that's all part of the learning. I've always said that true learning occurs when we make mistakes, not when we succeed. Don't go out of your way to make big financial blunders, but don't become paralyzed by them either. I let a life situation with a bad business partner put me into a business paralysis for over 4 years. When I finally shook out of it, I realized how much this person had affected me after we had parted ways. The possible financial toll was much higher than any losses that I had before we did go in our separate ways. Also, if you are a spouse or you're watching your significant other lose a bunch of money on a deal, I'm pretty sure that they are beating themselves up enough for the both of you. If not, you got bigger problems cooking. Well, that's the end of my couples counseling. You know, one of the greatest blessings I've ever had is when my wife sees me make a real financial blunder. And it costs us $1,000, $10,000, $30,000. I had one that cost us over $30,000. And she didn't say anything. We talked about it. We talked it out. But she knew that I was beating myself over the head with that mistake. And I was more upset about it than anybody could ever be upset with me about it. So, but that's the learning process, and you got to go through that. So do yourself a favor and just get back up and go back to the previous tip. Get more education. I've got a bit of a bonus for you from a quote made by Jim Rohn. Become a millionaire, not for the $1 million, but for what it will make of you to achieve it. I just love this quote by Jim. I wish he was still alive. He was a tremendous guy. I actually believe that he has recorded tons of materials, and they're more than excellent to listen to. So if you've got an account with Audible, or you can even look up on YouTube, lots of great videos and audio programs from Jim Rohn, and I recommend listening to them. But remember, true wealth will take time. It's not that it takes all that time for the money to come in. It's all about the journey of what it's making out of you, and hence Jim's quote. So if you think that taking 25 or 30 years to become wealthy discourages you, just remember that you'll see progress during those years, and that will encourage you. But if you don't start, you will never, ever finish. There's that old saying, what are the 2 times in life to plant a money tree? 20 years ago and today. So if you haven't planted your money tree yet, start digging. You may find ways to get to the finish line much faster, but we all walk different financial paths. Oh, and one small tip. Gambling isn't investing. And the house always wins in the end. So just remember that. So I have a question for you. Do you find that you just don't have the finances to get started investing in the first place? In a moment, a video will be displayed that talks about the other side of the financial picture in your life, and it looks at the 5 hard truths about living frugally. It takes a deep look at what living frugally is all about and how it can impact your financial future. I totally recommend checking it out. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today. Frank Thomas here, and be careful about listening to bad financial advice.